I used to work for DCF, and here are 3 common mistakes I saw happen that parents would make after domestic violence incident. One was to deny that it happened, to try to explain it away and make it seem like it was just something that was not a domestic violence incident and just deny that it happened. 2, downplay the incident. Try to explain that the other parent was under the influence and this has never happened before, making it seem like it could never happen again, but denying that there were things that probably led up to that. And the third mistake, which I think is probably the biggest one, is not receiving any help, not wanting to take any steps to make sure that it doesn't happen again and that the kids are going to be protected. Again, one of the families I dealt with years ago, I asked the mother, what's going on, and she described, what had been happening as far as domestic violence incidents. And I asked her, well, where does he live? And she said, next door. And in that moment, I was afraid for myself, her, and the kids. And I offered to take her somewhere else just so that she could be safe, because he had threatened to come back to do whatever else he hadn't done before after this particular incident. Whatever he did before, he was coming back to try to finish whatever he wanted to do. And I was not willing to stick around to see if that was going to be true. And I remember offering her, the resource of, I will take you anywhere. Let's go get the kids, because the kids weren't home at the time, thank God. And I said, I'll take you anywhere. And I will never forget it. She didn't want to go. She, just wasn't really bothered by it. And, there were obvious signs of domestic violence throughout the house. And she actually said to me, he said he was going to kill me. And no matter what I did, no matter what I offered, she wouldn't leave. She was more focused on something else, and there was a substance abuse issue definitely going on, but it hurt me that I couldn't get her to some kind of safety. And we had to make a decision to actually remove the kids because I didn't know when he was coming back. There was clear signs of domestic violence. She had admitted to that. And in addition to it, there was actually no food in the home. So these were things that I just could not ignore. And they were things that I knew I couldn't leave the kids in that situation, but it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was to help her and the kids get out of that. So, regardless of how you want to see the incident, regardless of, if you want to think that, hey, it probably won't happen in the future, refusal to take steps to help the kids stay safe and make sure they're not exposed to additional domestic violence is an issue. And that could be the one thing that DCF decides that we might have to remove the kids. So I don't want to see that happen to you. I think it's bad enough that, a family has to be exposed to domestic violence. But the last thing I want to see happen are kids are removed because the parent is refusing to try to keep the kids safe and taking those necessary steps. So please keep these 3 mistakes in mind and try to avoid them, because it can be the difference between DCF removing the kids or DCF leaving them in your care.